We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you love everything in college football, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this college football's rebel outpost. If you want to support the home for the college football sickos, to help us keep the lights on, to help us grow the channel, hit that $sign where you make your comment, and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Thanks everybody for joining us on a Monday, September 8th. I'm hearing all this talk about how the week 3 game slate is not all that good. It's not all that good, Greg. Great. It's not like week 1. It's not like week 2. It's not going to be what week 4 looks like. Week 3 is a little weak. That is what I'm being told. That is what I'm reading. That is what I'm hearing. And I beg to differ. I think this is a sneaky. This is a sneaky week 3. we're going to go over some of the games. We're not making our picks today. We're not making our picks. I'm not going to put you on the spot today. I'm not going to put myself on the spot today. I just came off the best week I've had against the spread in years. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to be impulsive. I want to let it all marinate. We are going to talk about some of these games, but it is a sneaky week of football. I mean, I think we're going to get some questions answered. And then I think there's going to be some questions that are just going to get prolonged, pushed into the middle of the season. One of the questions I have is the Texas A&M Aggies. I'm beginning to wonder a couple of things here. Marcel Reed, is he blossoming? Are we seeing the flower of Marcel Reed blossom in front of our eyes? The next question is he a little nicked up? Is he injured? Is he okay? See, I don't have the answer to this question. I'm hoping one of you have the answer. One of you have the answer to the question. And then I'm looking at, Vanderbilt-South Carolina. Vanderbilt-South Carolina. Great. Why are you talking about Vanderbilt and South Carolina? How can you be talking about this game when there's all these other important games going on? Vanderbilt has what? How many bowl wins in the last 30 years? South Carolina? First of all, the spread is the Gamecocks minus 5.5. The game is going to be played Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. Last year, when we talked about South Carolina, and this year when I talked about South Carolina, most people talk about Lenore Sellers, okay? Most people talked about how they're going to replace the running back, the transfer from Arkansas last year. Who is going to be the running back this year? We talked about Usul, the transfer from Utah State. Most people talk about Dylan Stewart. Dylan Stewart is a phenom defensive end. He's going to be a first-round draft pick next spring. Sensational football player. And by the way, he's dominating early in the season. But we also have to talk about the South Carolina Gamecocks offensive line that has been non-existent for years. And I got to tell you, watching South Carolina versus Virginia Tech, watching what in week one, and watching what I could watch between Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech in week two, are we positive that Vanderbilt doesn't go into Williams-Brice Stadium and beat the Gamecocks? Are we sure about that? Are we sure that South Carolina offensive line can hold up? And by the way, Diego Pavia, Eli Stowers, the tight end, they've got some weapons. I think the Gamecocks are in trouble at home against Vanderbilt. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? When is the last time Vanderbilt has beaten South Carolina? It's been a long, long time. But I think they might beat the Gamecocks on Saturday night. It's not like the South Carolina Gamecocks offense has been lighting it up. And then we go into Georgia, Tennessee. This game, now it's not one of the sneaky games, right? It's one of the games that hits you right in the face when you're looking at week 3. The game is in Knoxville, Tennessee. Georgia, as of right now, is favored by 3.5 points. They're calling the Tennessee quarterback not Joey Aguilar, but Joey Swag-Ular in Knoxville, because that is what the Tennessee Volunteer fans do. Look, you guys know that I love to hype things up, that I am the hype master, that I put out my Golden Gopher propaganda. There is no fan base that gets more hyped up, that throws out more propaganda than the Volunteers. Joey Swag-Ular. Well, I got to tell you, Joey, you're going up against the Georgia Bulldogs. You're going up against that defense. But I'm very interested in this game. I am very interested in this game for a couple of reasons on the Georgia Tech side. They haven't shown much on offense. They scored 28 points against Austin Peay. They ran the ball something like 44 times they ran the ball 40 or more times in the first 2 games. There's nothing wrong with that. But are they really dominating like they should be? Man, there is a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Both Tennessee and Georgia. And then, now we just talked about 3 SEC games. Let's talk about Notre Dame and Texas A&M, but from the Notre Dame side. They lost their first game of the season. They lost their first game of the season. It was a good football game against the Miami Hurricanes. Now they're at home. And you might not believe this. Let me check on something here. This game, Notre Dame, and this is a 7:30 Eastern time, which is probably a pretty good time for Notre Dame, because lately, even during last season, when they play that afternoon game, that 2:30 Eastern time, 1:30 Central time at home in South Bend, Notre Dame seems to sleepwalk. But this game is going to be at night. We are going to find out a lot about Notre Dame. We're going to find out a lot about that offensive line. Jeremiah Love could not get going. Can he get going? Will they give him the ball enough to get going against Texas A&M? And then, something that I haven't talked about when it comes to Notre Dame, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We are just letting these games marinate for a moment. Notre Dame, we've talked about it, how they really haven't been able to acquire in recruiting or in the transfer portal really high elite wide receivers for quite some time. Notre Dame had a great football team last year. Notre Dame has a very good football team this year. Notre Dame has got a lot of great football players, a lot of talent, but on the wide receiver position, it's been weak. We've talked about this for the last 3 years. Last year, I'm bringing this up. There's a point that I'm trying to make. Last year, late in the season, especially in the playoffs, there was Greathouse, Jaden Greathouse. Remember the name? We talked about him for the last 3 years. This kid could be the superstar of Notre Dame at the wide receiver position. And he hasn't really been doing it until late last year and into the playoffs. He made big play after big play after big play. But so you think that he would be the guy that Notre Dame would lean on in their passing attack against Miami. Well, they did not. The more I hear about what I'm being told, and I'm going to go ahead and use the phrase allegedly, there might be some problems in South Bend. I have been told that Jaden Greathouse was not named captain. I have been told that Jaden Greathouse was not picked to represent Notre Dame during their local media days. I was told that transfer wide receiver from Wisconsin, the Eva Badgers, was named captain of Notre Dame. I was told, allegedly, that Greathouse wasn't too happy with what happened in week 1. So, is this why C.J. Carr really never chucked the ball downfield against Miami? Is this why they kept going to the tight ends, 2-yard flat passes, one right after the other? Is this why Miami linebackers inched up at the line of scrimmage? The safeties, they brought him up. Corey Heatherman, he figured out what Notre Dame was limited on. So Corey Heatherman set everybody up. Notre Dame wasn't going to go long, and that is why Jeremy Love and Jadarian Price couldn't get off, could not get the running game going. And what does that all mean when Notre Dame plays Texas A&M? We got a lot of talk about here in the week 3 games. It's a sneaky, important week. And before I get to the generosity of the PATC community, Jamie Austin, Ricky Tungate, thank you guys so very much. So very much. Is the SCORE Act the bill on Capitol Hill that would give governing power to the conferences, to the Sports Commission, to the NCAA, that would give some antitrust exemption, that would basically codify the House versus NCAA, the settlement that happened? House being the Arizona State Sun Devil swimmer. Is it gaining traction in the House? Because We talked about how the forces against the SCORE Act over the last month was really pushing against it. But the forces for the SCORE Act is spending a whole lot of money on Capitol Hill. There is SEC advertising going on during their live events, urging the congressional people that represent the districts, that represent the Southeastern Conference, to vote yes for the SCORE Act. And now we got to push back from Cody Campbell. We got to push back from the congressman. We are going to go over that here in a little bit. Very interesting times here in college football. I would still consider the SCORE Act being passed as the underdog. It is not the chalk. But it is no longer, stoppage of the SCORE Act is no longer a 2-touchdown favorite. I would say the stoppage of the SCORE Act is about a 6.5 point favorite. The line has shifted. The line has shifted. Now, in the House, some version of the SCORE Act will probably pass. But then it all comes down to the Senate, where it's going to need 67 votes. Or it's going to need, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It's going to need 60 votes for even to be for the bill to be able to get up for a vote, because it needs to go over the 60 or more votes in the Senate for it to be voted on. Very interesting times. Very interesting times. Ricky Tungate, Mr. Hoosier. Holy smokes. A gifted membership. Thank you so very much. Andrew Watt received a gift membership by the incredible generosity of Mr. Hoosier, Ricky Tungate. Andrew, when you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Ricky. Ricky, thank you so very much. Ricky and Andrew Watt, you are officially knighted Cloak and Dagger. Andrew, you can go to our library of episodes and give all of them a watch, including our membership-only episodes, Early Peak, Cloak and Dagger. Thank you so much, Mr. Hoosier. Indiana versus Illinois, Week 4, September 20th, 7:30 Eastern Time on NBC. Indiana, Illinois, NBC, September 20th. Again, PATC has Illinois number 4, Indiana number 5. And this game was going to decide who's got the shot to be the 4th representative in the Big Ten to make the college football playoffs. Now, I did not have Illinois or Indiana to make the playoffs. At the end of the day, I did not have either team make it. Now, looks like my Arizona State, my Big 12 representative, and getting the A seed, looks like that's in a whole lot of trouble. Right? The Missouri looks good. LSU, Miami, Clemson, that looks a little sketchy. But it ain't over for Clemson. It's hardly over for anybody at this point. But anyways, Indiana, Illinois, big football game on NBC Saturday at 7:30. Jimmy Austin, 7:30 Eastern. Jimmy Austin, Oregon Duck. Look, the Oregon Ducks took it to the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Mike Gundy said some things. Dan Lanning said some things. I'm going to go and write an email to PJ Fleck. I'm going to write an email to PJ Fleck, and I am going to say, Mr. PJ Fleck, this is the fat guy from Minnesota. I'm giving a request to you, sir. When you play, when our beloved Golden Gophers play the Oregon Ducks on national television on a Friday night later in the season, don't say anything. Don't say anything against Oregon. Don't talk about how they don't talk. Only say good things. Don't say pleasant things. Don't talk about their advantages. Don't talk about you. I know you're going to talk about how great they are, PJ Fleck. You're going to talk about what a wonderful coach Lanning is and all that. But just don't get Lanning pissed off. Don't get the Ducks pissed off. Don't create any bulletin material. You know what I'm going to do, Jimmy? You know what I'm going to do, Jimmy? In the week prior to the Oregon-Minnesota game, I'm even going to keep my mouth shut. No Golden Gopher propaganda. It's going to be completely silence on that game. Not going to give any motivation to the they don't need any motivation. They're looking for a Big Ten championship once again. They're looking for a national championship. I'm not going to say a word. Thank you, Jimmy. 5 gifted memberships. Don Scruggs, Same James, Chris S., Edward Wilson, Chanson, Hurd, C. Diddy. You are all gifted a membership by the incredible generosity of Mr. Duck, Jimmy Austin. Please, when you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Jimmy. All of you, even Don Scruggs, the Georgia Bulldogs, all of you are knighted, cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. All right, let me get to the roll call here. Ooh, we got a super chat. We've got a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. Look out. Super chat, Jacoba Cat. Iowa is a quarterback graveyard. Inference is the Grim Reaper. Thank you for the $2 holla, Jacoba Cat. I know you're a hot guy. I'm going to have to ask this question. And I'm not really getting any answers when I ask you Einstein's questions. I'm not really getting any answers. My question is Mark Gronowski okay? Because he had surgery. I don't remember. I remember him throwing the football a little differently when he was throwing it around for the Jackrabbits. Is Gronowski okay? Is DJ Legway okay? Are these guys okay? Or what is going on over here? It's like nobody, are the footballs weighted heavier this year? I hope Gronowski's okay. I don't know what's going on in Iowa. And it's really hurting their recruiting because it's so embedded into the brand. Look, legendary head coach. Congratulations on an incredible career. You're going to break the Big Ten record. Kirk Ferentz, beautiful job. Really, unbelievable career. Hall of Fame career. It's time for Iowa Hawkeyes to get new blood in Iowa City. You had Hayden Fry for decades, the current coach for decades. Iowa Hawkeye football is so important to the state of Iowa and to the Hawkeye football fans. It's an incredible fan base. It doubled the size of the Gopher fan base. It expects a lot, and it ain't getting it. So I think Iowa needs a new voice, much like Oklahoma State finally needs a new voice. Jacob Cat, it's just not going to happen this year. I've already seen enough. Am I being too just like with DJ Lagway? Am I being too critical on this? It doesn't look like the quarterback can throw the football. To be that, it just seems to be that simple. And of course, you don't have the wide receivers. You got a whole lot of good football players on that team. You're going to win football games. But yeah, graveyard for the quarterbacks. Yeah. Mayor McCheese, been slacking on paying my dues to the heater. Thank you, Mayor McCheese. Thank you so much for that super chat. Yeah, we had one good week. We were 9-5 last week. Greg the Gold made an appearance yesterday on our Sunday live show. If you missed it, go check it out. Thank you for the $5 holla. Ryan Thomas, Mayor McCheese, appreciate it. Appreciate it so very much. Okay, let's get to the roll call. Don Scruggs. Tennessee won't have a dog in the fight. Morris Simmons. A&M will beat Notre Dame. Could be. Is Marcel Reed okay, though? That's all I'm asking. Is he healthy? Because he did get nicked up last week. A couple days ago. The almighty Finn is in the house. Jason Spangler is here. Heelan, Florida is here. Jose, Greg Sankey getting attacked by a congressman. We are going to talk about that. Jamie Bangles girl, Missouri throwing gas all over a KU official car and burning it down in SEC shorts had me cracking up, with LSU and Arkansas telling Missouri, you guys should play every season. Ha ha. Thank you, Jamie Bangles girl. I haven't seen it yet, but I always make sure I watch it every week. I'll go take a watch after this live show. Thank you for bringing it up. That is an incredible show. SC Shorts is legendary. Legendary. Jay Chapman is in the house. Tough Tony is here. Jeffrey Thompson, thanks for coming on in. USC fears Purdue. Wow. The Purdue Boilermakers. 2-0. 2-0, the Boilermakers. Expedition Greg is in the house. Who else is here? Ron Elite, Cal Bears, Minnesota, California. That's gonna be something. We are gonna find out tomorrow what Darius Taylor, the great running back in Minnesota, we are gonna find out tomorrow his availability. I think we are. PJ Fleck had a news conference today, his Monday news conference, and he did not really go into details about Darius Taylor's health. I got a feeling that it's not good. I don't think Darius Taylor is going to play against California. The Golden Gophers are going to have to figure out how to win without Darius Taylor playing. But I think we're going to find out more tomorrow for the Gopher fans that are watching the show, because Tuesday and Wednesday are the legit practices at Minnesota. That is how they schedule it. So, it's going to get leaked one way or the other if Darius Taylor was at practice. Again, if you don't know, Darius Taylor, it looks like, unofficially, it looks like another soft tissue injury for the beast. It looks like it's hamstring. Who else is here? Bobby Hansen is in the house. I told Greg the Hawks would finish better than 12th in the Big Ten. Not feeling so great now. Well, there's, Iowa has not played a Big Ten game, right? Now, Iowa does play Rutgers September 19th, I believe, on a Friday. That's a Friday night game. We'll see how Iowa does. But that is at Rutgers. That's at Piscataway. B-Bean is in the house. Bob Swanger is here. Rod Nix. Rod Elite. George Holton, thank you so much. Thank you so much for 9 months. 9 months on being an early peak cloak and dagger. Thank you so much. DJ Legway sees his schedule and is already flinching, expecting them hits. Wow. Again, is DJ Legway okay? I talked about it yesterday. If this is a 70% leg way, if this is an 80% leg way, it's understandable. But if this is a 90% leg way, a 100% leg way, we've got troubles in Gainesville because he doesn't look good. The way he's throwing the football, the way he's running. I gave an example yesterday. There was a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. And all he had to do was just take one step to the left or the right and take off, and you're going to get you 7 yards, and he ran right into the defender. He doesn't look good at anything he does right now. Am I being too hard on him? Let me know in the chat. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. Thank you, George Holton. You are officially knighted. Officially knighted. Cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. Thank you so very much. Jamie Bengals girl. 5 gifted memberships. Bigfoot Hunter. Christopher Headley. Shave the Banana. Marquez Stiggers and Wet Blanket. You were all gifted a membership by the generosity of Jamie Bengals girl. Thank you, Jamie. I very much appreciate it. For the 5 names that I just read off, when you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Jamie for her incredible generosity. All of you are knighted, cloak and dagger. When you get an opportunity, go to our library of episodes and watch them all, including the membership-only episodes, Early Peak, Cloak and Dagger, where we drop nuggets of college football info. And we are probably going to be dropping another episode in the next, I would say, the next 48 hours. So for the members that are watching this, and for those who want to become members, watch for episode, I think, 59 of Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. Watch it drop either tomorrow morning or Wednesday morning. That seems to be the schedule on the next story that we are going to introduce to you all. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. Breeze and George is in the house. Deadeye is here. Rowan Phillips. I think I got everybody. Morris Simmons, I think I got you. I'm not sure. Woody, I apologize if I missed anybody. Let's get into the program. First of all, let's just talk about the storylines. Let me talk about this bad news here. Out of West Virginia, 247 Sports, Jaheim White, the great running back for West Virginia, out with a knee injury. We saw him on crutches during that football game. and he is out for the season. And look, West Virginia, their season is still very important because this is the time for Rich Rod to figure out what they need for next year, what they need in the portal. He's got a whole bunch of new guys. They got about 80 new guys. They got to play these guys. They got to see what they got. They got to see who develops. They got to see who connects with the Mountaineer Rich Rod culture. They got to play these games. They got to figure out what they got and get ready for 2026. They got to figure out what they've got in the quarterback room. They got to figure out if any of those offensive linemen can be a Big 12 starting offensive lineman that can push the Mountaineers to Big 12 championship contention. This is an important year for Rich Rod. The wins and the losses don't really matter for the Mountaineers. Not in 2025. Very important season to figure out what you got, to figure out what you need. But for Yaheem White, I'm praying for a minor setback for a major comeback. Now, ESPN, takeaways, everything to know about Week 2 performances. Week 2 has wrapped up, and the ACC and the Big Ten show they have multiple teams in the contention for the college football playoff. South Florida beat yet another AP top 25 team, and Oklahoma State suffered its biggest loss in over 100 years. Is it possible for Oklahoma State to bounce back? How had Mississippi State's portal pickups helped turn around the program? Is South Florida's success finally giving the American Conference a reason to smile? The ACC and the Big Ten are off to strong starts in the CFP race. The ACC runs deeper than Miami and Clemson. Welcome back, Florida State. And the Big Ten is stronger than the Buckeyes, the Lions, and the Ducks. That's you, Illinois and Indiana, maybe USC, maybe Minnesota. Meanwhile, in the SEC, Austin Peay stuffed Georgia on the 1-yard line. LSU had its handful against the pesky Louisiana Tech defense. Florida lost at home to South Florida. South Carolina needed 2 punt returns for touchdowns to overcome a sleepy start against South Carolina State. Based on the latest predictions, if the rankings were today, the ACC would have 2 top 4 teams with first-round byes. The champs, Miami, and then Florida State Seminoles. The SEC hasn't won the national title in each of the past 2 seasons, and it might be even tougher to win it this year with more contenders in the mix. At least early, Heather Dinich, ESPN. Where have all the Cowboys gone? There's no shame in losing to Oregon in Eugene. Just ask the defending national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes, who lost there last year. But Oklahoma State being non-competitive against any opponent at any field is embarrassing for Coach Mike Gundy and a proud program boasting so much success over the past 2 decades. The Ducks smoked the Pokes 69-3. Oklahoma State most lopsided loss since 1907. The same year Oklahoma gained statehood. It felt even worse than the final score indicated. Oregon scored 2 touchdowns on its first 3 plays. The Ducks had 8 touchdowns before the end of the 3rd quarter, while Oklahoma State completed just 7 passes and produced only 6 first downs until a final garbage time drive. Afterward, Ducks coach Dan Lanning and his players noted they took issue with the Gundy calling out Oregon's roster robust budget earlier this week. The Ducks quarterback Dante Moore said they wanted to keep a foot on their necks. Lately, Gundy seems to be generating more headlines than wins. Last season, on the way to last place Big 12 finish, he apologized for suggesting critical fans can't pay their own bills. Then, amid a clash with the school's regents last December, Gundy fired his staff and agreed to reduce salary and reduce buyout. Now what? Under Gundy, since 2005, the Cowboys have been one of the college football's most consistent programs, a perennial winner. But this abrupt downturn, 10 straight losses to FBS opponents, appears to have no end in sight. And Gundy, the nation's second longest tenured coach, faces a lot of tough questions with no easy answers. Jake Trotta, ESPN. South Florida highlights strong start for the American. A longtime commissioner of the American Conference, Mike Oresco, constantly fought for the league to be viewed as a power conference, mostly to no avail. But the past few years have been tough. UCF and Houston left for the Big 12. SMU bolted for the ACC. The Americans saw the Mustangs immediately make the first 12-team college football playoff, and then the Mountain West champion Boise State land the coveted automatic qualifying spot instead of its own champ. Oresco is undoubtedly smiling right now, along with current American Commissioner Tim Pernetti, as the league has made significant splash early in the 2025 season. South Florida, which won 7 games in each of the past 2 seasons under Coach Alec Golesh, is carrying the conference banner after wins against Boise State and Florida, beating ranked opponents in consecutive weeks for the first time in team history. The Bulls had never won at Florida, and they take one of the nation's most impressive profiles into this week's game at number 5, Miami. We're going to talk about it. Imagine if South Florida takes down the Gators and the Hurricanes in back-to-back weeks. Other opportunities await for teams in the American, including Tulane, which already has a definite win against a Power 4 opponent, Northwestern, and faces Duke, the former Green Wave quarterback Darren Mensah, in Ole Miss the next 2 weeks. There are some long shots, such as Navy's annual matchup with Notre Dame and Temple hosting Oklahoma this coming week, as well as more realistic chances like Memphis hosting Arkansas on September 20th, and the scheduling on that game was just announced today. I don't remember the time or what channel, but it was announced today where that game, what time and what platform that game being played on. Things are never smooth sailing for the leagues like the American during the early part of the season, but thanks to South Florida and others, the highlights are piling up. Adam Rittenberg, ESPN. Billy Napier, done at Florida. There was no loss more costly Saturday. Then number 13, Florida, 18-16 defeat to South Florida in the Swamp. Once again, the Gators did seemingly everything they could to give away the game late in the fourth quarter. After South Florida missed a 58-yard field goal try, the Gators got the ball back with less than 3 minutes to play. Instead of running the ball and milking the clock, Florida coach Billy Napier called 2 passing plays. The Gators failed to pick up a first down and used about 20 seconds before punting. Holy smokes. After the Bulls took over their 11-yard line, Florida's defense committed 2 huge penalties to give USF a chance to win. A pass interference penalty gave USF some breathing room, and then Florida defensive lineman Brendan Bett spat on the Bulls' offensive lineman, drawing another 15-yard penalty and an automatic ejection. We talked about that yesterday. The Bulls had 2 big passing plays to get in the field goal range, and Nico whatever his name is, I forgot. Their whole Gramatot kicked a 20-yarder at the buzzer to win. USF upsets Florida. Wow. Woo! Is Billy Napier done? Is Billy Napier done? Again, those are the storylines. Grammatica. 20-yard field goal wins the game for South Florida. And he missed a 58-yarder earlier. Let's talk about, those are the storylines. ESPN, so far, some of the storylines coming out of week two. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Hold on. First of all, I do apologize. I did not see Expedition Greg, a gifted membership. Thank you so much, Buckeye Greg. I do appreciate it. Let me see if I can I cannot see who was gifted the membership. Who has ever got the membership, gifted membership from Expedition Greg, please, when you have time, say thank you to Expedition Greg, Buckeye Greg, for his generosity. And both of you are knighted, cloak and dagger. As well, thank you, Expedition Greg. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you for all your generosity and help in our program. We've also got a super chat. Helmer Henderson. Who wins between Florida State and Miami in their matchup? I don't know. I do not know. I want to see Miami. We've got time yet, right? I want to see Miami and South Florida game. That game is being played on the CW, by the way, the CW channel. Right now, I would take Miami. With no spread, being dead even, I would take Miami. But I'm going to have to keep watching, and the game is not this Saturday, so we got time for more information, for more data. Who knows about injuries? Right now, I would take Miami. But my, oh my, oh my. I don't know. What do you think, Helmer Henderson? What do you think? Thank you so much for the $2 holla. I appreciate it, Mr. Henderson. I very much appreciate it. Rowan says Miami. Big Gun Shop says Florida State. Okay, let's get to this. Congressman Michael Baumgarten. Read the subtext of this letter from Southeastern Conference Commissioner Greg Sankey to the commissioners of the other conferences. Drop the bullion BS, Greg. Do what's right to create a level playing field for all schools and protect the future of the Olympic sports landscape. So I read that, and I read the letter, and I got to tell you, there are times that I'm very tough on Greg Sankey, because there are times where he has taken public shots at other commissioners. But and there are times where I take shots at Tony Petitti because he doesn't talk enough. He doesn't get in front of the microphone. There are times that I've been taking shots lately at Yormark and Phillips, of course. So when I read this from Congressman Michael Baumgarten, I was expecting to read this letter as if there was a true threat. I don't see it in here. People are telling me it's the last paragraph, and I read it over and over and over again. I don't see the bullying. I don't see the threat. I don't really see anything at all. Maybe I'm missing the context of this letter. Greg Sankey said this morning, I received a letter apparently authored through your conferences that was sent to me by our government relations firm. Since your names and those of your chairs are on the letter, I assume you are aware of the contents. I would have welcomed for the opportunity to discuss your concerns directly before seeing the correspondence. While I respect your decision to share your views in the manner you choose, I believe upon communication among colleagues is the most productive path forward. I believe open communication among colleagues is the most productive path forward. Now, I guess it's the last paragraph that Greg Sankey is being accused of bullying. I'm going to read it here. Whether you agree or disagree with my perspectives, I have sought to be clear and transparent, ensuring my thinking. I remain open to dialogue, whether you believe it would be useful. However, it appears you do not believe communications are beneficial on these important matters. Maybe that's the part where people are upset. I encourage us all to carefully weigh both the outside ideas and the full impact of the ideas that seem to be drawing this discussion. I really don't see, I was expecting to see something much different. I don't see bullying here. I see a disagreement. I do not see bullying at all. And you guys know I do not wave the flag. I do not wave the pom-poms for Greg Sankey. That letter to me does not. So Cody Campbell responds and says, all I can say is, wow, bullying the G6 conference commissioners to prevent them from representing their members and making their voices heard? Is this consistent with the goal of doing what is best for all of college sports, women's sports, Olympic sports, and smaller schools? And I'm not getting any of that from, I don't understand what Cody is saying. And now look, I know Cody Campbell is trying to save college sports. He's spending a lot of money on advertising what his vision. He's spending some time with President Donald Trump. The Southeastern Conference is spending money on pushing the SCORE Act vote, right? Trying to get that passed along with the Big Ten. So Cody Campbell believes that Greg Sankey has been bullying the G6 conference commissioners. Again, I'm not somebody who usually takes up for Greg Sankey. But I want to make this perfectly clear before we talk about this next week's games, week 3 games. You want to talk about bullying the G6 conferences? You want to talk about bullying the commissioners of the G6 conferences? You think that letter was bullying the G6 conferences commissioners? I'll tell you what is truly bullying the commissioners of the G6 conferences. Everybody, and I'm not talking about the fan base, everybody, every athletic director, every president, every administrator, and every large booster that supported, that sponsored the Rudy Project and that other Super League plan, anybody who sponsored and supported the Rudy Project bullied the G6 conference commissioners more than any one letter or letters could ever do. Because remember, the Rudy Project was this idea, and it's still percolating, by the way, of a 70-72 team Super League. And in that idea, all these 70-72 teams would negotiate under one media right package, right? Sounds great, right? Under this Rudy Project, you would have 70-72 teams under a football umbrella, under one media package, divided up in 8 different divisions of whatever, 9 teams, whatever. But it did not include 99% of the G5, G6 schools. It might have included 1 or 2. It did not include those G5, G6 schools. In fact, not only did it not include the G5, G6 schools in those divisions, not only did it not include the G5, G6 schools under the media rights package, it also eliminated, and it said it, ladies and gentlemen, it said it in the proposal, it said it in all the reporting of the Rudy Project, that there would be no games that would be scheduled with the G5, G6 schools from the Super League teams. And the reasoning was this would help juice up the media rights, right? So basically, that Rudy Project and the other stupid Super League that was being floated out there cut the legs out from under the G5, G6 athletic departments, the student athletes, the universities. That is bullying the G5, G6 conferences. That is true bullying. And you want me to read out the names of those who supported those ridiculous Super Leagues? It wasn't Greg Sankey. There was one Southeastern Conference athletic director that supported it, Danny White of Tennessee. There was Notre Dame who supported it, athletic director Jack Swarbrick. There was a host of ACC and Big 12 schools that supported it. So for Cody Campbell and for others to say that Greg Sankey is bullying the G5, G6 conferences, all right, if you think this letter is bullying, if you think that letter is bullying, you better make a comment about that Rudy Project and take your shots at those who supported that. Because basically, that was a death rattle to the G5 and G6. Now, I understand that, Sean. I get that, Sean. I get it. But let me ask you a question. Cody Campbell is pushing to go against the SCORE Act, and he's pushing for a plan that would supposedly save the women's sports, the Olympic sports, and everybody else. And it ain't just Cody. And I've got no problem with him using his voice. I got no problem with his using his money. I got no problem with him pushing a vision. But what is it? What is it exactly? Does Cody Campbell's vision, does that include Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan? Does that include Buffalo? Does that include Northern Illinois? Does that include Liberty? Does that include UTEP? Does that include Nevada? Does that include Utah State? Are they under the one media package that you want to send everybody up to and negotiate? Because you haven't answered the question. Nobody will answer any questions. This is the problem. This is the problem I have with everything. I'm sorry that I'm going out, but somebody's got to say it because I keep hearing here's the problem. I see the agents, the lawyers on X. I see them bashing the SCORE, the SCORE Act. I see them bashing the Sports Commission. I see them bashing the Deloitte Clearinghouse. I see them bashing everything and everybody and saying, oh, this is never going to work. That's never going to work. That's never going to work. I see the threats of lawsuits. But I think the reason the SCORE Act is gaining traction on Capitol Hill is because people want stability. And that is not the stability that I want, by the way. Antitrust exemption to the NCAA. No CBA. That is not the stability that I want. It would give authority to the Sports Commission, to the conferences, to create rules. NIL's not going away. There's not going to be zero transfer portal. Those days are over. Those are not coming back. This is to codify the House versus NCAA settlement. So the rev share is not going away. It's about codification. Do I think we can do better? Yes. Would a CBA be better? Yes. Do I think the CBA is going to work? No. I wish I could say yes, but nobody has given me a reason to say, yes, it will work. Why is that? Because nobody will explain their vision for the CBA. I've asked the lawyers on X, the same ones that you read every single day, the agents, the same one I have sent replies to Cody Campbell. Nobody will answer a question. Is it a CBA that entitles all the sports, the revenue sports? Is there going to be a CBA for one conference, two conferences? What about Title IX? Nobody has any details at all. All it is happy talk. That's all I'm getting. If we don't have anything to go up against the SCORE Act, if we cannot compete with the SCORE Act, then people are going to fall in line and they're going to pass the SCORE Act. No school has come out to be for employment of the student athletes. No school has come out to be for a CBA. And these lawyers and agents and these organizations, they don't give any vision at all. And the politicians that would support their vision, my vision, they're not getting together and putting together a bill. They're not doing anything. All they're doing is bashing away. That ain't going to get it done. That is why I think the SCORE Act is gaining traction. Not the chalk to pass. But I think it's only a 6.5-point underdog. It used to be a 2-touchdown underdog. But there is no other competitive vision. I have no problem with Cody Campbell saying, we need to save the Olympic sports. We need to save the revenue sport. We need to save. But other than that, I don't know what the hell or anyone else is talking about. Even when you say the following, well, Greg, we should have the government fund the Olympic sports. Okay, that sounds good. But what are the details of that? You mean the government takes over? The government takes over to pay the bills for the Olympic sports? How does that work? Does that mean that the university of Pittsburgh A&M, does that mean if they bring in 15 Olympic sports and the student athletes, that the government will automatically pay for the 15 Olympic sports and the student athlete scholarship? Is that how it's going to work? What Olympic sports would the government take over? Would it take over everything that's not basketball and football? Would it take over hockey? Because hockey is Olympic sport. Hockey is a non-revenue sport for most of the universities. But in Minnesota, it's a revenue maker. You think the University of Minnesota is going to have the government come in and what do we, again, baseball, it sounds good. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not. I am, but I'm not trying to be. I hear all this happy talk. And I want to read something. Give me a 15-page document. Give me a 20-point plan. Give me something. Even if half of it is made up. Give it to me. Give it to the politicians. Give it to the universities. I don't need to see another interview. I don't need to see another college football reporter have an article on Happy Talk. What is the SCORE Act's competition? Do you see it? Do any of you see it in the chat room? Does anybody see it? Does anybody have it? What is this plan? This has been going on for quite a while here. I don't see nothing. And that is why I think the SCORE Act is gaining traction. Because it has details. Some of it I'm abhorrent to. Some of it I don't want. Some of it we need. But what is the competition to the SCORE Act? There's nothing there. There's nothing there. And that is why I think every time these agents and lawyers go at it on X, it used to have a great impact. It has no impact anymore. Because we're all looking around going, okay, we can see that. Yeah, okay. The sports commission's having difficulty. Okay, they're going to have to adjust this ruling. All right. The Deloitte clearinghouse, they're going to have to speed up their process. All right. Hey, we all have eyes. We all have ears. We know what the NBA is going through right now. The National Basketball Association. They've got a scandal going on right now. Kawhi Leonard, the Los Angeles Clipper, looks like he might have gotten paid and it wasn't true NIL dollars to circumvent the cap. It's a big scandal in the association because in a CBA world, you can't just pay the player whatever they want to get them to play on your team. It's against the rules. So for the agents that are dominating X right now for college football, I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, but in a CBA world, your NIL deal still has to be true NIL. And for somebody to figure out that it's true NIL, you're going to need a sports commission. I don't care what you name it. I don't care what investigative name you have to put on it, but it's going to have to be in place. All this complaining and pissing and moaning, even in the world that you want to create, it still has to exist. You cannot have pay for play. You cannot have player inducements. It's not allowed anywhere. Again, I think that is why the SCORE Act is gaining traction. I have them 6.5-point underdog of passage. They're still the underdog because they're going to have to get enough Senate support. But there is no alternative. Where is the alternative? I don't see it. Other than chaos. Other than the settlement doesn't get codified. Other than more lawsuits. And then we're going to be looking at not just a $2.8 billion of back pay, but we're going to be looking at $20 billion of back pay to satisfy the settlement that we could not codify. That is the only alternative I see. Somebody please explain to me the alternative. Not happy talk. Tell me the 15-page document, the 20-point outline. Somebody give us something. And if Cody Campbell is the guy, God bless him. If Jack Swarbrick is the guy in retirement, God bless him. If it's going to be one of the commissioners, God bless him. If there's going to be 5 schools that are going to come together and step out on the limb and say, okay, we got to junk all this. We got to be for CBA. We got to be for student athletes becoming employees of the university, or at least the athletic department, or employees of some sort of third-party association. God bless them. But we're not seeing any of it. All that we are seeing and hearing is either happy talk or pissing and moaning. Now, let's get to the games. And I'm going to open up the phone line. I'm off my soapbox. I apologize to anybody that I offended. This is why the channel, this college football YouTube channel, is the most unpopular college football YouTube channel in the country. Because I am a jerk. And we gotta say it like it is. At least what we think it is. Let's take a look at the top 25 games. Games that involve the top 25 teams. And then we'll go to your phone calls. Again, we're just starting to let this all marinate. No panic. No panic. We're not making our picks tonight. The Friday night game, there's one top 25 team playing, the Indiana Hoosiers, and they're playing the Sycamores, Indiana State. Okay. Northwestern Oregon. Number 4, Oregon. Oregon is a 4-touchdown favorite. We really don't have to talk about that game, right? Clemson, Georgia Tech. This is the Rambling Rex opportunity. This is it. Georgia Tech, man. You got to make this count. This is the time. This is the time that Georgia Tech has to plant their flag in the ground and say we are an ACC contender. We are a college football playoff contender. Clemson is only a 9.5 point favorite. They're struggling. They're struggling to figure out the running game. They're struggling to get running backs in the game that can pass protect. Clemson is struggling. Georgia Tech is not. If there's ever an opportunity for Georgia, this is it. This is it. Again, week 3 is a sneaky week. It has games littered all over the schedules that I think are important. Of course, this is one of them. Oklahoma Temple. The Badgers, Alabama. All right, Alabama. You're actually going to be playing against a defense that has athletes that can play, that again, just like Florida State, if you don't know what you're doing, the Badgers are going to slow you down. Bama is 20.5 point favorite. The evil Badger, Ryan Willie, has a bet with me on it. If the Badgers cover the 20.5 point favorite, I got to sing on Wisconsin. If Bama wins this game by 21 or more points, the evil Badger is gifting some memberships to the PATC community. Bama, Badgers. Michigan, Central Michigan. Look, during the season, during the off season, I like Michigan. I think they got a pretty good team. I do. I have them coming in 6. I also said that I believe USC and Washington have a much higher ceiling than Michigan and Indiana and Illinois. But I couldn't quite get sold on USC and Washington being able to figure everything out this year. So I still had Michigan finishing ahead of them. I don't have Michigan in the playoffs. And the biggest reason why had nothing to do with their true freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood. It had to do with the fact that who is Michigan's offensive talent? Look at their wide receiver room. I did not see it in the offseason. I don't think Bryce Underwood's going to get the help that he needs. So for the next 2 years, Michigan has a 2-year window to get the guys that Bryce Underwood needs to win the Big Ten championship and to go in the college football playoffs. But they don't have it this year. And I think there are going to be times where they're going to struggle. Against inferior teams, they're going to struggle to score because they don't have the outside weapons. Auburn, South Alabama. Auburn is up favored by 24.5 points. The emergence of Hugh Freeze, War Eagle, Cam Coleman, Singleton, and Jackson Arnold. You got that Aldrich, number 15, the defensive end, pass rushing machine. Auburn's got a lot of talent. They're proving it. They're going strong early in the season. They beat a Baylor team that went and beat SMU on the road. That helps Auburn's resume. An important game for Auburn. Villanova, Penn State. And here is the big one. Georgia, Tennessee. Joey Swagular. Gunnar Stockton. For Don Scruggs and his beautiful wife, Wendy Scruggs, and all the other Georgia Bulldog fans that watch the show. By the way, I was sent a DM today. Somebody, one of the PATC family members, had to get his car fixed at a Chrysler auto shop and got his hands on the remote control and there's a big TV set right above the concession stand, where you can get chips and pop and coffee. Big old TV that was up against the wall, and he put on college football PATC. Well, I had my gold outfit on yesterday. So in West Georgia Chrysler shop, PATC is a hot item there. So thank you to the individual who put it on the TV set in West Georgia, Tennessee. I got a question for the Bulldogs. Tennessee, I think they're limited. We'll talk more about Tennessee later this week. But for the Georgia Bulldogs, will the real Gunnar Stockton please stand up? Will the real Georgia Bulldogs running game please stand up? Both of them. We need to see some explosiveness. We need to see the running game really kick in. And we need to see Gunnar Stockton have a good game through the air against a legit team. This is not a sneaky important game for Georgia. Everybody knows this game's important for Georgia. Knoxville, Tennessee, the Bulldogs are favored by 3.5. Texas Tech. Oregon State has not looked good. Now, at the beginning of the season, we all looked at Texas Tech's schedule and we knew they were going to have a nice soft runway to begin the season, but we were thinking, well, Oregon State will give the Red Raiders a battle. That ain't going to happen. We're going to have to wait till the following week when the Red Raiders play Utah, 11 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Mountain Time, I believe. Fox, the Red Raiders against the Utes. We're going to know a lot more after week 4. Iowa State, Arkansas State. Louisiana, Missouri. Again, the Missouri Tigers, I do not know why they don't get more respect. I don't get it. Texas, UTEP. Arch Manning gets more reps. He's getting lathered up. Arch Manning is getting lathered up. South Florida, Miami, the CW network. Okay, now Miami should be able to handle this, right? Miami should be able to handle this. They're 18.5-point favorites. The Hurricanes should keep rolling and rolling. Carson Beck has been phenomenal. He is on the PATC Heisman watch list. Firmly in at number 3, behind Jeremiah Smith and John Napier. Can South Florida do it? Can South Florida pull the upset? Can they do it again? Ohio Bobcats. Probably the best MAC school this season once again. Them or Buffalo, I believe. The Ohio Bobcats versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. Western Michigan, Illinois. Illinois gets to the top 10. Now, this is not a good Western Michigan team. Not a good one. So Illinois is not going to have any problem. Ole Miss, Arkansas. Sam Pittman, is this the time you're going to spring the upset on the road? We are going to talk, this is going to be one of the selections on our selection list for week 3. We are going to talk more about this game. I got one little nugget I want to talk about, but we're going to keep it. We are going to keep it. Florida, LSU. Some people are a little worried about LSU Tigers offense. I don't know. I'm not worried, I guess. I'm not worried about LSU. I am worried about Florida. I've spent a lot of time on it yesterday, a little bit on it today. I do not know what's going on with DJ Lagway. They've got other issues, but there's something going on in the quarterback position there. He doesn't look like he can throw the football. He doesn't look like he can run. If he's injured, don't play him. Honestly, don't play him. Marcel Reed has been phenomenal. You can see the development. He has got to the next level. But is he nicked up? I need more information on this game. Is Marcel Reed nicked up? He got injured a little bit there, guys. Maybe not injured, but he got hurt. I need more information. Tuesday is the day that sometimes we get more information on possible injuries. But if he's ready to go, Notre Dame is in a dogfight for their season. Vanderbilt, South Carolina, I've already talked about it. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm taking the Vanderbilt Commodores. South Carolina is favored by 5.5. Give me Vanderbilt. I watch Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. I watch South Carolina, Virginia Tech. Is it stupid of me to take just that one common opponent and evaluate these two teams? That's probably stupid of me, but I'm going to do it anyways. Vanderbilt, I think, is going to beat South Carolina in Williams-Bright Stadium. And I'm going to get 5.5 points. So Greg the Gold is sending a message out to you PATC Einsteins. Take Vanderbilt. If you don't take Vanderbilt to cover the spread, you're already going to be down one game to Greg the Gold in week 3. Utah, Wyoming. Utah's favored by 22.5 point game. 22.5 at Laramie, Wyoming. Wyoming doesn't have much of an offense. I don't think Utah is going to have a problem. But I will say this. If Napier plays another great first half and Kyle Whittingham pulls him out of the game and let him rest, make sure he doesn't get injured, get ready for the Red Raiders game next week, I'm going to have to make a decision. And I might have to have Napier get put on the Heisman watch list. He might sneak in there. So Drew Aller, Dante Moore, Garrett Nussmeier, you got to continue on, my brothers, because here comes Devin Napier, the Utah Utes. All right, guys, we're going to open up the phone lines. You can tell me what you're looking forward to in week 3 or any other things you want to talk about in college football. If you want to yell at me for my take on anything, you can yell at me about anything. But if you want to yell at me about the Score Act and why I think it's gaining traction, even though I tell you, the worst thing about the Score Act, it's not negotiated by true representation of labor. The House versus NCAA, the settlement, the lawyers represented labor, but it wasn't true representation because the labor did not appoint that representation.
Call from
Rick?
Rick, the floor is yours. Let it rip, sir.
Oh, thank you. Just hoping to save you some time on rants until this bill, whatever it is, gets all the way through. You're not going to get any information whatsoever in opposition to it up until the time that it makes it through the House, gets the 60 votes in the Senate, slides over to Donald Trump for his felt tip pen scratch and then holds it up and says, "Here, we did it." And the reason for that is there's lots of reasons. Number one, there's no reason to object to it until it becomes a law. Number two, it's going to get things added to it, things taken off of it, twisted around, the way Congress always does things until it finally makes its way through the sausage factory. And then the attorneys are going to jump all over it immediately after it's signed into law for all of the contentious items that are contained in it. Have you read it?
I've read, yes, at times I've read it, but hold on a second here. If you want to defeat the bill, the forces are mounting up right now to defeat the bill. They're mounting up. There's lobbying on both sides. And if you don't want to, if you are against this, you don't want to see it passed and then go after it, because once it's passed, it's harder to knock out because it's a law, and you can't control what you can't control. Well, but you can mold, you can influence. Cody Campbell's trying to influence people. A lot of people are trying to. There's a lot of politicians that have come out against it. What my point is, I think to be a more effective way to go against it, if you want to be against it, which I know you do, Rick, and you've got a lot of people agree with you, a lot of people disagree with you. But for the people who agree with you, I would argue that the better effective way to battle it is to present an alternative. And there is no alternative, in my opinion. I try to read everything. I ask a lot of questions. Go ahead, sir.
I will guarantee you there are all kinds of alternatives, and you're going to hear them and see them if and when the bill is passed. But you don't get a peek around the corner to the attorneys that are drafting their paperwork in rebuttal of this. They're not going to put it out to the public to get chewed up again by Cody Campbell and his friends and twisted around to get their bill through. They're just going to let them get their bill through if it makes it, and then they're going to destroy it in appellate court up to the Supreme Court. Because Kavanaugh already told you everything you need to know.
The SCORE Act, okay. All right, I don't know. I would not play it that way. But then again, no one's asking me to be on anybody's team because nobody would want me to be on anybody's team. So here I sit. I think the best way to combat is to have an alternative. You say there's ones out there. All I hear is happy talk. I don't see anybody putting together anything.
They're not going to show you. Greg. They're not going to show you their hand.
Show me your hand, man. Because if you show me your hand, I'm going to like a lot of your hand, and then I'm going to be talking about your hand, and I'm going to be pushing your hand. But there's nothing for me. There's nothing for us to sink our teeth in. It's like you're letting the SCORE Act have the run of the place. Lewis says in the chat, the SCORE Act is going nowhere and needs 60 votes in the Senate. Not happening. Lewis, I agree, but I'm agreeing less than before. Like I had this as a 14-point. I had stopped not passing as a 14-point favorite. Now it's a 6.5-point favorite. And one of the reasons is because there's no alternative. And people want a concrete, they want this thing stable. They want some legitimacy to all this. and that's why I think it's gaining traction. It's okay. Look, it's gaining traction in the House. It's got more and more Democrats on it, not less. That doesn't mean it's going to get to 60 senators. But you know how this works. The more bipartisan you get in the House, there's going to be more people talking on the Senate side. You've got the Southeastern Conference spending all type of money advertising this week on it. You've got the Big Ten. You've got all these power brokers. And I would just ask the other side, give us an alternative. I think it's a big mistake. But go ahead, Rick. The floor is yours.
Nope, you're not getting it. Go ahead with your bill and do whatever you want to do and run the gambit just like you did in the House case. And when the judge gets a hold of it, because the judge is ultimately going to get a hold of it, it's going to get ripped up.
All right, well,
and the reason why, you get to find out later.
we get to find out. We get to find out what's in it when we vote for whatever. You know, the SCORE Act does not take away NIL. The SCORE Act does not take away the rev share. The SCORE Act does not take away transfer portal. So
I'll tell you what. You want to know what the SCORE Act does?
It gives antitrust exemption. Go ahead.
No, you know what the SCORE Act does, Greg?
Yeah.
It writes its own definitions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a problem.
well then fight it. Fight it now. Don't fight until after it becomes law.
No. Quid pro quo, Clarice.
All right, sir.
We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for the call. Beautiful. Call again, sir. OPD Don.
From
Lewis, can you hold on for just one moment, please?
Sure.
I do apologize. Thank you so very much. We got ourselves a big old super chat. Opie, thank you so much for the $25 super chat. My goodness. Just gas money to go pick up all those zero drinks that you will need for this weekend's games. Yes, I think it's a sneaky, really good week of games. But then again, I'm very easy to in this regard, I'm very easy to please when it comes to college football. I am drinking today during this show. I'm drinking zero sugar sun-kissed orange. I've gotten away from the cherry Coke. I will get back on the cherry Coke before the Gopher game plays at 9:30 Central Time Saturday night. Not that I'm superstitious, okay? I might be a little stitious, but I'm not superstitious. Lewis, thanks for the call, sir. The floor is yours. Thank you, Opie.
Yeah, well, good evening, Greg. Well, first of all, the SCORE Act, that's still a long shot. The House, it might very well pass. You just need a majority. And yes, some Democrats will support it. But the Senate, you need 60 votes. There are 53 Republicans. You need 7 Democrats.
Yep.
And to get those 7 Democrats, they're going to want something for their vote that's not going to be worth it. Because this is about sports. And there are actually some serious issues in D.C. that warrant more vote trading over sports. And so I just don't see it happening. Plus, I mean, college football, I mean, it's in a crisis in some levels right now. It's very difficult for teams that used to be able to compete in this construct. And the example of that is West Virginia. I followed that program for 40 years. And in the 80s and 90s, They could bring in recruits that were perhaps overlooked by other schools, keep them there for 4 years, develop them. In 1988, they played for a national title. In 1993, they went to a Sugar Bowl, even Rich Rod's era in the early 2000s. But I think that program's done. They can't do it because even if they get some good players, like Mesidor and Donaldson and even Hudson Clement, they all take the money after a year and go to a better program. And that's a lot of programs. And so at some point, if this angst continues, the longer the score act stays, and people are going to wonder if that's really good for their school and for their state. And I don't know that it really is. So I don't see it happening. And at the same time, it's very difficult for some programs to compete. I think Duke's able to compete. I'm more optimistic about Duke than West Virginia. And if you'd asked me this 20 years ago, I'd have laughed in your face. But Duke at least seems to have some money behind it.
Yep.
And they also offer the education, one of the best universities in the world. That's important to enough kids that they put out a team that, they outgained Illinois. They had more yards than Illinois. They played horribly, 5 turnovers.
The special teams turnovers and God, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the uniform violation, which should never happen. Hopefully somebody should be fired for that at Duke for having a uniform violation. Yeah. I mean, you have analysts. You have so many people on your staff. How does that happen?
Yeah.
But as far as the game and toe-to-toe, Duke was a match for Illinois, as far as yardage, as far as moving the ball and the ability to move the ball. It was not Illinois just running them off the field like Ole Miss ran Duke off the field in the Gator Bowl. So I don't know how good Illinois is or how good Duke is. Time will tell as the season goes on. And Duke has another tough game. They might lose this week at Tulane just because when you're a power team and you go to a Group of 5 team, you're going into a Lions den because Group of 5 teams are furious. Yeah. And they should be because they did get over. Look at South Florida. Look what they have to try to do to get respect. So it's a tough situation. But that's what college football's become. It wasn't like that. The college football that a lot of us that are older anyway fell in love with, it's not that anymore. And so if the SCORE Act is going to just exacerbate a problem, I don't know that it will necessarily get the support that it needs. Now, you do have a problem, but it's not the same. So I think you have to kind of just have a lot of different irons in the fire and follow a lot of different teams. But it's going to be hard for teams other than the elite 15 or 20 teams to ever win a national championship again. And I don't think people felt that way, 15, 20 years ago. Now, at the same time, it's making a lot of money. And the TV ratings Labor Day weekend were great. Yeah. I think overall it might not be a problem. I don't think it'll have a NASCAR problem. Remember, NASCAR was at one time one of the most popular sports in the country, and now it's a niche sport. I'm not saying that's happening, but you are going to, on the edges, you do have the possibility of having people become more indifferent. They used to be more passionate because their teams simply cannot compete. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, and that's the crossroads that we are at with this, which is probably going to, within 10 years, lead us to the elite schools just breaking off, and which might be bad financially, but at least the schools that are left, if there's enough of them, they could at least compete for a championship, might generate some interest. But I think that's where it's going, and the SCORE Act would give the antitrust violation to college football to do that. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting. But those are my thoughts on it. It was a very tough weekend, but did enjoy going to Duke. It's a very small football community, but it's a football community with a lot of passion. And this weekend I'm going to the Backyard Brawl. Wow. I think it's kind of West Virginia's bowl game because no one thinks they're going to win more than 2 or 3 games. But if they win the Pitt game, it's something that I think they're going to probably lose by 15 or 20 points because it's just that program is just an absolute mess. So those are my thoughts this week, Greg, and look forward to the rest of your show.
You got it. Hey, appreciate it, Lewis. Call again, sir.
Thank you.
You got legendary caller, Lewis. I mean, I agree with Lewis, and I still got it not passing the SCORE Act. I still got it 6.5-point underdog. He's absolutely correct. It's going to be very difficult to get 60 senators. It's going to get very difficult to get 1 Democratic senator. And then you got to get 2 Democratic senators. And then you got to get,
Call from
Talking Comics.
Who's on the line?
Talking Comics.
Oh, Talking Comics. Just hold on 1 second, please. Thanks for calling. Give me one moment. And then that doesn't even, I mean, there's a few Republican senators that might not vote with the other Republican senators, like Murkowski or or Collins from Maine, whatever. So you might have to have 8 Democrats. You might have to have 9 Democrats. The reason I put it down at 6.5 point favorite to stop it from 14 points to 6.5 is because it is true in a lot of bills where the more bipartisan support you get in the House, the better you can get a compromise with the Senate. Because we're not hearing it all, but it sounds like they're altering this bill here and there. They're trying to get more and more Democratic House support, trying to get more health benefits, trying to make sure whatever the Democrat House wants, they're giving a little bit more and more to peel away more and more of those votes to get it more bipartisan. I think, and every couple more Democratic congressional people support it, it gets a little bit more opportunity for a Democratic senator to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead. I understand. I'm going to say that I'm for it, and then I'm going to get some more things added and maybe another. So that's all I'm saying. I agree with Lewis. It's the underdog, but I just don't think it's as much as an underdog as it was before. And if you really are against it, I think there should be an alternative, and there is no alternative. And I think that is going to be a story in all this. Talking comics. Thanks for your call. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Greg. I wanted to call in and defend this weekend's slate. I appreciate you guys talking about the SCORE Act, but I'm interested in what's going on this Saturday.
You got it?
I think one of the sneaky biggest games of this weekend is ODU at Virginia Tech, because when Old Dominion beats Virginia Tech, it's going to poke a hole in these overinflated SEC rankings. Who else has Vandy played? Who else has South Carolina played? South Carolina is ranked in the top 15. They're going to get smacked by Vandy this weekend because they don't have an offense. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest games of this weekend if ODU can take care of Virginia Tech. And I think they can. I think they're going to do it.
I'm going to put it up on the board here. The line is Virginia Tech 7.5. Boy, this is an interesting, sneaky game. You are correct. First of all, I can't believe I'm saying this because I was very high in South Carolina last year when hardly anybody was. Okay? I was a little, even though I was Greg the Cooler, I was a little bit ahead of the curve on South Carolina. This year, I could not quite get South Carolina into the playoffs again. I got them number 5. I put Missouri at number 4. I got it up on the screen here. The biggest worry I had for South Carolina last year, the biggest worry I had for this year, is that offensive line. That offensive line stinks. It stinks. And Virginia Tech wasn't even good enough to really take too much advantage of it. South Carolina State, and I think you're right. I think if Old Dominion goes down in Blacksburg and beats Virginia Tech straight up, and Vanderbilt, I think, is going to beat South Carolina. I agree with you, talking comics. I absolutely agree with you. This is a sneaky, sneaky game. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to get your attention on that because I know we haven't picked the games yet, but I think that might be one that you want to put in the picks. Another 2 that I think are going to be interesting, and it's right on the screen here. Duke at Tulane, obvious big game with Mensah going back to New Orleans after transferring from Tulane. And another one that could be very devastating for the Big 12, in particular, Texas State at Arizona State. Texas State is moving up to a more prestigious conference. They do have some money down there. They have a decent roster. I would favor Arizona State, but Arizona State has not been explosive. Their passing attack has been really, really focused on their one wide receiver. Just their lack of explosiveness, I think, puts them at risk in that game as well. So bigger spread, but
yeah. Let me make a comment on this one. Last year I picked Texas State to beat Arizona State. I think it was a week 2 game. And I had Texas State as my college football playoff representative in the G6 because Ismail Mahdi, the great running back, came from Texas State. Now he's at Arizona. And they had McLeod, the quarterback, and they had a really good offense. I agree with you on this one as well. Arizona State has not, even in their first game, they won 28-19. They beat Mississippi State last year. They lost to Mississippi State this year. Could be the same thing with Texas State. You are correct. That would be devastating for the Big 12. Go ahead, sir.
I think that's my call. I just wanted to get some of these games kind of on the radar before we make our picks this week. I think these are some interesting games to watch. I do not agree that the week 3 slate looks weak. I mean, every time we say this, there are games that pop up, and I think these are some of the candidates to be games that we're talking about on Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. Beautiful, sir. Beautiful call. Hey, Talking Comics, was this your first call?
This is my first call, yeah.
Well, please call again. Beautiful call, man. Beautiful. Please call again, sir.
Definitely will. Thanks for your time, Greg.
You got it. Beautiful, man. Excellent. Rick Lewis, Talking Comics. Wow. Rick Lewis, Talking Comics. 2 legendary callers and Talking Comics first call. I think I got a feeling that Talking Comics is going to become a legendary caller here at Peek Around the Corner. Wow. Excellent. We got the Kansas Jayhawks taking an elbow at the Wildcats. Hey, Jason, yesterday's live show, I sang the Kansas Jayhawks fight song at the beginning of the show. So go back and watch it. I sang the Kansas Jayhawks fight song because of the incredible generosity of Vox Quindaro. Go check it out. I think I was magnificent. I think I was good. Okay, I think I was average. All right, I wasn't too bad. I was lethargic. I was absolutely lethargic. But go ahead and watch it anyways. Cal Bears GR8. Listen to me. Listen to me, Einstein. Listen to me, Mr. Berkeley Einstein. We're talking about games that's coming up. Huh? We're talking about sneaky games coming up. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about it. What are we looking at here? We're looking at the California Golden Bears versus the Minnesota Golden Gophers. 9:30 Central Time on ESPN. 2 young quarterbacks, one a true freshman, the other a redshirt freshman, gonna be going at it under the sun in California.
From
Tristan 5.
Tristan 5, the floor is yours. Let it rip.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, listen,
calling,
I have
sir.
a trivia question for you.
Trivia question. All right. I always get these right. Because I'm a genius. Go ahead.
That's right. Okay. What do these 3 numbers have in common? The number 8, the number 13, and the number 38.
8, 13, 38. Um,
It's a tough one, Greg. I
can't
admit.
come up with it. I can't even come up with a guess.
Okay, well, here's what they have in common. The last 8 times Georgia has played Tennessee, that Georgia has won every game by an average score of 38-13.
Wow.
That's a shocking number, isn't it?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tennessee has problems with Georgia. Tennessee has problems beating Florida in Gainesville. Go ahead, sir. Yep.
Well, I think, and I've been critical of Kirby when it comes to the offense. You touched on it earlier. The offense didn't perform particularly well this past weekend. I know it was a smaller school, but there's no excuse for them to ever get stuffed on the 1-yard line against a school like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg, I think this might be the year that Tennessee breaks through. I think Tennessee's going to beat Georgia. I'm calling it right now.
Wow. I'm not going to give it away what I'm going to do, but that surprises me. I think Tennessee has the same problem that South Carolina has. Maybe not to the extent that the Gamecocks have it, but I'm not a believer. I have not been a believer in the Tennessee's offensive line. So I think Georgia's going to wreak havoc like they always do with Tennessee. But we'll see. I got to let it marinate a little bit longer. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, well, it could be a close game, and Georgia's defense might play really well, but they're due for a loss in this series. And I'm not convinced that Gunnar Stockton has what it takes to get it done. And this is a road game, Greg. I mean, Tennessee is a tough environment to play in, so that's those part of the reasons I'm going with them. But this is one of those series, Greg. I've called you before, and I've told you how painful it is for me to watch Penn State lose to Ohio State every year, just because I want to have a feeling like either team could win.
Yeah.
I have the same issue with this series now. It's like Georgia wins it every year, and it's not even close. I'd like to see some close games between these teams, Greg.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't know it was that wide spread of a margin. Holy smokes.
Yeah, they've been dominating them. And get this, the only time that Georgia lost to Tennessee under Kirby Smart was the first game that they played, and it took a last-second Hail Mary pass for Tennessee to beat Georgia in that game.
Wow.
Yeah, so they came that close to being 0-9. But, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out for you, and I thought you might find those numbers interesting.
Yeah.
That's all I had for you. I'll catch you later.
I appreciate it, Tristan. Thanks for the call, my man.
All right. Take care, Greg.
Beautiful. Great call, Tristan. Don Scruggs. Why? Gunner loves y'all, man. Rowan Phillips playing at Neyland. I'm going Tennessee. All right, guys. I appreciate you all joining us on a live show Wednesday, September 8th. I am being told that I now got to watch the Minnesota Vikings against the Chicago Bears. I want to thank Opie, Kerry Gold Nose, Helmer Henderson, Expedition Greg, Jamie Bengals Girl, George Holton, Mayor McCheese, Jacoba Cat, Jimmy Austin, and Ricky Tungate for your generosity to help us keep the lights on, to help us keep growing this channel. Thank you so very much. I want to thank everybody who joined us in the comments section, the great phone calls, Talking Comics, Rick, Tristan, Lewis, excellent phone calls like always on our show. Beautiful. Again, We talked about some of these games for week 3. We're going to talk more about these games in week 3 tomorrow and whatever else there is going on in college football. I still believe we are going to get some reporting mixed in with some speculation on the college football playoff discussions that continue to go on behind the curtain. I think we're going to get something this week. So buckle up, brace for impact. Until next time, from all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, Golden